China is operating the Panama Canal, and
所
we
谓
give
中
it
国
to
控制
China.
运
We
河
gave it
完全是谎言。在巴拿马运河问题上，中方支持巴拿马对运河的主权。
You know, it's ironic. Most people today don't realize that over a century ago, the Panama Canal, now in a geopolitical tug-of-war between the US and China, was fated with World Expo, an event that marked the beginning of economic ties between the two nations. Here in China today, countless companies proudly claim how their products won gold medals at the Panama Pacific International Exposition. But why do so many companies insist that they won the same gold medal? Is their memory a bit foggy? Were multiple golds awarded in the same category? What hidden truths lie behind this century-old mystery? On February 20th, 1915, the Panama Pacific International Exposition opened in San Francisco. Over the next 9.5 months, 19 million visitors flooded the fairgrounds. The expo showcased humanity's boldest innovations of the era, drawing luminaries like the former US President Theodore Roosevelt, inventors Henry Ford and Thomas Edison, and the actor Charlie Chaplin.
So this is an aerial photograph of the
Dr. Abigail Marquin of Carroll University has spent years studying the exposition. Her research sheds a new light on long-forgotten details. Dr. Marquin, hi, thanks for joining us. To start off with, I want to ask, what significance did the 1915 Panama Pacific Expo have for the United States?
Ostensibly, yes, the fair celebrated the completion of the Panama Canal. Chinese businessmen, the Chinese government was obviously interested in setting up relationships with merchants, with businesses in the United States, but Americans were also very interested in trying to sell American products to China and to Japan and to Asian nations in general. So both nations were very much in search of new markets. And I think for China, receiving awards for that, I think was very significant for nationally.
Though the newly founded Republic of China sent a massive delegation, official records are scarce. However, our team found a lead.
北洋政府管理的参展的这个团队专门成立了一个机构，叫巴拿马赛会筹备事务局。这本书是这个机构在博览会之后编的册子。
Titled A Work Report, this meticulous chronicle was authored by Chen Qi, Commissioner General of China's Panama Expo delegation. His story is amazing. Who was Chen Qi? On May 24, 1913, President Yuan Shikai appointed Chen Qi to lead China's expo preparations. How did this obscure young official, amid the chaos of warlord-era China, transport thousands of local products to America and have them shine on the world stage?
我们现在是位于那个青田县富山乡红富阳村的陈其旧居，又名玉堂别墅楼。它建于1917年，于2011年的时候被定为那个省级文物保护单位。
Chen Qi, a native of Qingtian, Zhejiang, received a modern Western education and became an international trade expert through military and economic expeditions abroad. Mr. Chen Yuguang, Chen Qi's nephew, shared first-hand accounts with our team in Madrid.
我是10来岁的时候就很喜欢听我们上辈二人讲我伯父陈其的故事。蒋之洞呢非常重视陈其，把他派到那个日本去考察。新鲁斯博览会邀请我们中国参赛，湖南省呢就派陈其走团去参加这个路易斯博览会。
Chun's expo journey began at the 1904 St. Louis World Fair, where he documented his experiences, a rare skill that later made him one of Yuan Shikai's few experts in global expos. But Chun soon faced an impossible task, shipping over 100,000 Chinese goods sourced from scattered rural households to America. On top of that was a tall presidential order, Bring Back Awards.
包装上它有要求，多少寸到多少寸，必须按照美国的章程，来这样进行开展工作。中国又是这么广袤的土地的众多的产品，要严格按照美国的要求来包装啊，来运输啊，其实是很难的。
A destitute nation, a grand global stage, a powerless bureaucrat. One can only imagine Chun's thoughts upon his appointment, but his rival was clear. Japan, aiming to dominate the US market, had invested over $6 million silver dollars a year prior. Chun's budget request, $1.9 million. Approved, $610,000, 1/10 of Japan's.
That rivalry and problematic foreign nation relationship that existed between the national governments also, of course, played out to some extent in San Francisco and a little bit on the grounds of the fair as well. So I'm sure that for the officials from China and Japan, right, they were probably conscious of trying to make sure that they were each was maintaining their nation's status and showing it off to the best of their abilities.
Every professional knows the scenario: grand visions from above, zero resources below. Or as we say in Old Blighty, a fool's errand. China's best exports, silk, tea and porcelain, were handmade or farm-grown, scattered among millions of peasants and small merchants. Convincing them to ship goods to a faraway land called America? Unthinkable.
他首先在每个省要组织一个委员会调查你这个省什么东西有出产著名的这个工艺品、农产品有什么著名的东西，首先做全面的调查，然后调查以后把这个食物取过来，要运到这个指定的上海这个港口。
Chun's mission? To rally them all for this 70,000 li odyssey. With minimal time and meagre funds, choice of partners mattered. At the foot of Shanxi Province's Luliang Mountains sits Xinghua Cun, home to Yiquanyong, a centuries-old distillery. Its sorghum-based Fenjiu, mellow and iconic, appears in Chun's Panama records. In early 1914, the owners debated, was this global stage an opportunity or a risk? But another key player proved instrumental, Yang Deling, Yiquanyong's master brewer.
杨德林有超前的眼光而且呢，遇上一个很好的一个东家，也支持他。他是中国酒业史上的第一个职业经理人。
When the closed doors of the meeting room opened, Yiquanyong's master brewer Yang Deling made the decisive call: Fenjiu must go to the expo. Nearly all of China's exhibits for the Panama Pacific Expo were gathered by Chen Qi in under a year, product by product, province by province. At UC Berkeley's archives, records of China's participation remain. Our team uncovered crates of documents, including the original catalogue of Chinese exhibits. The catalogue reveals over 100,000 items from 4,172 producers nationwide.
中国有个著名的茶乡叫婺源，从现在我们开车过去都开了将近要2个小时。1912年就派员进这个茶乡来考察，是1914年还这样派了来邀请当地的茶商来参加美国的发布会，是很不容易的。
How did Chen Qi ensure these fragile, scattered goods crossed an ocean without modern logistics?
怎么能 多装酒，第二呢不能磕碰啊，就它进行了一些包装瓶的改进，他们把这个圆肚瓶改造成这个柱形瓶，柱形瓶呢可以多装酒，但还不磕碰。
Sheer genius. That's how. Chun's 1950 packaging innovations sparked a commercial revolution. He didn't just beautify Chinese goods, he imported global trade practices, reshaping China's traditional merchants. The ultimate test came in March 1915. In early 1915, Chun's team of 40 arrived in San Francisco to manage the arrival of 1,800 crates, customs, unloading, inventory and setup. On March 9, 1915, China's pavilion opened its doors to the public. Every shop in Chinatown put up their shutters as countless overseas Chinese and 80,000 visitors flocked to the fairgrounds.
And that meant that a lot of Chinese Americans, Chinese immigrants living in San Francisco and outside of San Francisco came to the fair and joined in with things like China Day at the fair and the dedication of the Chinese pavilion, when the fair honored China by celebrating these special days.
That evening, Chen Qi stood at the center of a glittering banquet at San Francisco's Jiangnanlou restaurant, celebrated for achieving the impossible. But discord soon struck. A private Chinatown Hell exhibit mocking Qing-era China displayed queues, bound feet, opium dens and brothels. A furious Chen, leveraging his role as expo juror, pressured authorities to take action. It was swiftly shut down. Beside him throughout was his poised wife, Mei Lan. At every high society event, she dazzled attendees with fluent English and refined advocacy for China.
Chen Qi was very active in socially. He and his wife, they hosted dinners, so I think that they played a really significant role in that, and I think that his wife, Mrs. Chen Qi, also played an important role. She actually spoke at a convention of women voters, so she had interaction with women who were active in the suffrage movement in the United States, which I find was a very interesting episode.
UC Berkeley's Bancroft Library holds the final list of awards. Of 1,200 plus total awards, China won 57 grand prizes, 74 medals of honor, and 258 gold medals. China won the most awards of any nation, explaining why so many modern brands claim Expo glory.
那有奖牌的最高的奖是大奖章啊，金奖、银奖、铜奖，这是有奖牌的。在下面的荣誉奖就没奖牌了。
This is the rules and regulation governing the system of awards for the 1915 Panama Pacific International Exposition. So we now know if a product scored between 60 and 74, it would receive a bronze medal. Between 85 and 94, it would win a gold medal. So the top scorer was the grand prize, the most important one. In Shanxi's Fengjiu Museum, we found one of these rare grand prize medals, a relic of national pride and the dawn of US-China trade.
15年获奖了，到了喜讯马上传回来新华村，陈其写的这个参加巴拿马太平洋博览会纪实里头明确记载，叫甲等大奖章的获得者是山西高粱汾酒。咱们门口一块碑叫生民厅酒泉记碑，里头明确记载说咱们这个酒作坊的酒在美国旧金山获了大奖。
One of the big deals about the 1915 Panama Pacific International Exposition here in San Francisco is the fact that Baijiu actually won awards. It was a really big deal exposition, which is great. It just, I don't think, had the impact that was expected for China, which at the time was also very new. I mean, this was 1912 was the first time that, the Chinese had presented China as a country. And it wasn't until the the Expo in 1915, that China had a significant footprint at something like that in the United States.
我们这都是好东西啊，中国的丝绸，杭州的丝绸有名啊，是吧？湘绣是吧，都是有名的、啊，不限于酒嘛，也不限于茶叶，还有粮食、园艺、工艺啊、美术作品，那各种东西，那东西，对美国人也是一个冲击，对世界也是个冲击。
After 1915, US imports of Chinese silk, tea and tung oil, worth around $11 million per year, soared. China bought American oil and farm machinery. The two nations became pivotal trade partners, a legacy rooted in Chengqi's 70,000 li odyssey. The small distillery from Xinhuacun village that won the grand prize at the 1915 Panama Exposition gradually expanded into broader markets. This wasn't just the birthplace of the Fenzhou brand, it marked the beginning of a new trend, Chinese brands making a name for themselves overseas.
I think the medals are priceless. They're an honour earned 110 years ago by Chinese artisans, craftspersons and farmers, producing goods almost entirely by hand and competing on a global stage. So those medals, they're a source of national pride, and I think even today they're a testament to their ingenuity. Chengqi didn't just showcase individual products, he propelled the entire nation into the modern marketplace. What truly deserves our admiration is their spirit, their openness, and their hunger to learn, and their willingness to redefine China on the global stage.
The Panama Exposition was Republican China's first international showcase. Its impact went far beyond short-term trade growth. Knock-on effects included international standardization, brand internationalization, and corporate modernization.